I call to order the 1613th meeting of the General Senate and the 12th meeting of the 14th Senate. Notice this meeting is being broadcast via Zoom and the recording will be publicly available on YouTube. I will now read the land acknowledgement. The University of Maine recognizes that it's located on Marsh Island in the homeland of the Penobscot Nation, where issues of water and territorial rights and encroachment upon sacred sites are ongoing. Penobscot homeland is connected to the other Wabanaki tribal nations, the Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Micmac, through kinship, alliances, and diplomacy. The university also recognizes the Penobscot Nation and the other Wabanaki tribal nations are distinct, sovereign, legal, and political entities with their own powers of self-governance and self-determination. Now the clerk please call the roll.
President Tripp.
Here.
VP Shelmerdine.
Here.
VP Bohm.
Here.
VP Lehman. VP Thompson.
Here.
Director Arafat. Commissioner Stankovitz.
Here.
Representative Britton.
Here.
Advisor Sedelko.
Here.
Senator LaMadrid.
Here.
Senator Oldfield.
Here.
Senator Burkhart.
Here.
Senator Rivera.
Here.
Senator Weber.
Here.
Senator Rideout.
Here.
Senator Whitehead.
Here.
Senator Sutker.
Here.
Senator Donovan. Senator Cummings.
Here.
Senator Joy.
Here.
Senator St. Pierre.
Here.
Senator DeLorme.
Here.
Senator St. Lawrence.
Here.
Senator Levesque.
Here.
Senator Farnsworth.
Here.
Almost. Senator Cowan. Here. Senator Centinello.
Here.
Senator Ricker. Senator Goodspeed. Here. Senator Zurab.
Here.
Senator Vallat.
Here.
Senator Van Beek.
Here.
Representative Pellet.
Here.
Representative Brunner.
Here.
Representative Knapp.
Here.
Representative Karpinski.
Here.
Representative Fancook. Representative Emery.
Here.
Representative Gamble.
Here.
Representative Abed.
Here.
Representative Tremblay.
Here.
Representative Ferregadon. Did I miss anybody?
Hi. Senator Silver.
Is on my excused list.
Next.
Unexcused facility.
I'm now looking for approval of the 4/27/26 minutes of this agenda. Senator DeLorme.
I'm going to approve the 4726. Second.
Hearing a second, if it's pleasure of the Senate. Now moving to general good and welfare, where any non-member may address the recess for no more than 5 minutes. Do you have any speakers?
I just sent out the Student Heritage Alliance Council form. We're going to talk about.
Sorry, it's only non-members.
This would be a special order and announced. Sorry. Okay.
Seeing none, we'll now move into new senators and officers' appointments, with Senator Smith from CLES has resigned. Now may Brian Farnsworth and Keaton Morris please stand. Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Ryan Farnsworth,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and uphold
or uphold
the Constitution of Student Government Inc.
the Constitution of Student Government
and all other rules and guidelines
and all other laws and guidelines
to which I will be held.
which I will be held.
Further, I swear
Further, I swear
to well and faithfully discharge
to well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the office
upon which I am about to enter,
which I am about to enter,
while representing my constituency
while representing my constituency
and the University of Maine.
in the University of Maine.
Congratulations. Now moving on for club maintenance, I'd like to invite up the Caribbean and Latinx Student Alliance for preliminary recognition. You can put your podium there, sorry. Hi, if you could tell us about your club and the different things you're looking forward to happening.
Yeah, so this club is intended to be a home away from home for people and a space for not just Caribbean and Latino or Latina descent. An educative, reflective, safe, inclusive space, just promoting trying and new foods, new activities that surround Caribbean and Latinx. Yeah, that's a general overview of our goals and
Are there any events this semester or next semester you're looking to put on?
Yeah, so our meetings, they're not necessarily events when we're talking our meetings. We have like horchata hour. We're doing a craft for Earth Day, starting coral reefs, upcycling, and then for FIFA World Cup in the summer, we're gonna go out to the field and play some soccer. And then of course, next semester for 2027, there's Carnival, there's events like Culture Fest that we contribute to, and we also participate in ISA. Yeah, one thing to know is we used to be a recognized club, but our leadership roles were not filled, so now we're back for recognition, so.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
400 ought to pass.
I'm now looking for approval of committee's recommendation. Senator Weber.
I move to approve the committee's recommendations.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. President Tripp.
I just want to say I had the chance to stop by your meetings recently, and it's so good to see you guys kind of back. I remember a few years ago, it was a big part of Jack and everything that it was doing. So congratulations on kind of your return. And I wish you best of luck in the next year.
Thank you so much.
Any other points for debate?
I can also attest to that. I think that the leadership that Sophie has shown has been incredible, and the council has a really bright future.
Okay. Any more points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Next is the Environmental Interpretation and Education Association up for preliminary recognition.
Hey, everybody. So the Environmental Interpretation and Education Association is a professional organization designed for students of natural resources like PRT, outdoor leadership, wildlife ecology, astronomy, and similar areas of study. It's a student chapter of the National Association for Interpretation, which aims to promote heritage interpretation as a career and develop students as they enter that field of work. We're looking to offer a lot of different types of events like career panels, resume reviews, educational site visits. There's also conferences offered through the National Association that students will have the opportunity to attend where they can do networking and professional development.
Are there any questions for our speaker? President Tripp.
Have you gotten in touch at all with the Student Environmental Action Division? And is this something that you think would fit under kind of the green groups and that world?
I have not. I guess I'm unaware of it.
Great. We'll connect you with your representative.
Awesome.
Yes, sounds good.
Any more questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
400 ought to pass.
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator Oldfield.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. President Tripp.
I think that if they're approved, the Vice President of Student Org should connect the rep with the seat rep. Thank you.
Any more points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Seeing nothing under club presentations, we'll now move into the BPFA traditional reports.
Hey, everybody, our starting position and allocated figure for tonight is $25,741.04. For insurance and allocated, we have Lambda Phi Eta with $126.55, and Saki with $328, Pre-Debt Society with $88.13, and Ignite with $542. I'd also like to mention another item that we're doing that we haven't done in the past. This is called a wash entry. So Partners World Health is receiving a donation from Bangor Savings Bank. Bangor Savings Bank requested a tax information, which Partners World Health does not keep himself. And so instead, Bangor Savings Bank is donating to us, and we are donating to that money, like an express gift to Partners World Health. And so this is still money that is being given from our accounts to Partners for Health, which is why I must report it. But this is not student activity fee money. This is other people's donation. Just to clarify, and it's $250. No transfers, no budget lines added. For office budgets, Partners for Health is asking for $200. This is for next year. I do want to leave that noted. For FY 27. Under EBC allocations for consent agenda, backcountry squatters also for fiscal year 2027 is asking for $840 for storage facility usage. Cap size asking for $275.59 for their pet band pizza party. Pet Etymology Club is asking for $349 for display materials and tabling supplies to go along with their movie night. And then for resolutions to Senate tonight, we have DPSL, our student leadership, for $1,600 for senator merch, and then outing club again for fiscal year 2027, $1,428 for again storage unit. And report.
I'm now looking for approval of the consent agenda. Senator Weber,
I move to approve the consent agenda.
hearing a second, if it's a pleasure to Senate, that is approved. Now moving to funding requests, starting at 47S EDC 102 for outing club. Do we have a speaker? Yes.
Hello, members of the Maine student government. Thank you for taking time to review MLC's budget requests. As some of you may or may not know, the club has existed for over 100 years. And throughout MLC's time on campus, has provided a plethora of opportunities for students to explore Maine's greatest resource, that being the great outdoors. The public boards have members of a great many resources, from access to our cabin next to Sugarloaf and access to the wide variety of outdoor equipment that MLC provides to members. However, all these resources require a significant amount of money to maintain, and though MLC does work for these costs on its own through club dues and fundraising, MLC's property next to the Sugarloaf does create unique costs unique to MLC. Plowing, insurance, firewood all contribute to MLC's costs and threaten to increase the costs that our members have to incur. As such, we've historically requested UMAIN's help to help cover our costs for the storage unit, which is used to store the club's equipment. This being MLC's only funding request, we kindly ask the UMAIN student government to help us cover this cost.
Are there any questions for our speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
401 pass.
Now looking for approval of committee's recommendations, Senator Weber.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation. Second.
Hearing a second, will now end discussion. Senator Weber.
I'd like to let this know, this and the next one will be 0-1s, because I chaired the meeting, I cannot vote as a member, so as an abstain as a chair, so that's why it's 4-0-1 and not completely unanimous.
Any other points for discussion? Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed, all abstaining, seeing clear majority and the affirmative, that passes. Next is 47S EDC 100 for UMSG student leadership.
Hello, everybody. So I'm going to quickly present on this. If everybody looks at your packet, you can see what Vice President of Student Leadership Fang submitted. I'm going to quickly send an image of Vice President Fang's mock-up in the Senate chat. If the Vice President will allow senators to look at their devices.
I won't take you guys out.
One moment, I have to.
You're not. Yes.
Good evening. Right, great. So this is, you'll see it's a kind of gray or sweatshirt material, and they're quarter zips. And they'll have a white, the circle student government logo over the left. And so, within our policies, the senator, the vice president of student leadership is allowed to purchase gifts for all senators in the year, not exceeding $50. And so it's just kind of as a token of appreciation. And in this case, Vice President Fang chose an item of clothing so that it's going to be worn kind of as advertising for student government next year for everybody who is returning. And so it's up to the Senate to kind of decide if this is what they would like to go forward with. This is the mock-up that Vice President for the Student Leadership Fang sent me, but we're not specifying where we must purchase them from. Only that this would go towards quarter zips. It's been mentioned that you might be looking at what is it, W.S. Emerson as an option. That's not where this is from, but and if they get in time and this is approved tonight, we won't have shipping costs and they'll be here the Friday before finals.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
601 ought to pass as amended.
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Sarah Oldfield. Hearing a second will now enter discussion. President Tripp.
Background, Senate gifts used to be annually budgeted. It's just the annual budget until I think it was my freshman year when a senator moved to remove it. And then we further added the stipulation about $50 maximum per senator. It is also precedent that an executive fund cover the cost for the same gifts for executives and representatives. So if you have thoughts on that, I want to put that out there now. And you can either come speak to me or you can have the discussion here. That is my tidbit discussion.
Any other?
Just to clarify what the amendment was, Vice President Fang originally requested 1750, assuming a full Senate. We do not have a full Senate, and so to keep us within our policies, we had 32 active senators at the time, and so we amended this down to 50 times 32.
Yes. Any other points for discussion? Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing a clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Next, I'd like to invite up our guest speaker, Jenny Boyd, who's the interim VP for Finance Administration and the Chief Business Officer. Are you going to be presenting anything on the screen?
I did not bring anything to present.
Okay.
So thank you all. This is my first opportunity to come to student government, and you guys are a little intense as compared to faculty senate. Anyway, so I appreciate the invitation from President Tripp to come in and try to address some questions that may have come up as a result of the budget town hall. I did receive a few questions ahead of time, so I can go through those, and then if you have other questions, I'm happy to try to answer those. If I don't have the information off the top of my head, then I will certainly work to get it back to you. That's an okay path forward.
Yes.
So one of the questions I received was based on slide 19, which perhaps I should have brought the presentation with me, but that was a graph showing the trend of student credit hours from about 2018 through 2026. And you can see a marked decline in the credit hours beginning in academic year, fiscal year 22. So the senator was inquiring if we could speak to specific reasons as to why credit hours began declining in fiscal 22. So I reached out to our Office of Institutional Research to provide some background information on that. And it's really a two-pronged answer. There was a significant shift in undergraduate enrollment from out-of-state students. In 2016, we started the flagship match. as a way to sort of aggressively outreach to out-of-state students to get them to come to UMaine by offering what would be the equivalent of their in-state tuition at their flagship. And that was a very successful program. What we started to see around fiscal year 22 was other states picking up similar aggressive scholarshiping strategies and starting to erode that advantage that we had taken advantage of for a number of years. So between the fall of 21 and the fall of 24, our out-of-state enrollment decreased by 23%. So that's a significant drop. And then on the in-state side, we also are seeing a drop, but it's much smaller. In-state enrollment between 21 and 25 decreased about 3%. I see some correlation, and institutional research also is offering information that supports that, but fiscal 22 is the first year of the free community college program. So we're seeing a significant increase in the number of students who are accepted to UMaine, but choose to enroll in the free community college programs instead. So that used to be about 8% of students who were admitted and chose to go to the community college, went up to about 15% and is staying there. So it doesn't seem like it was a one-off, and now that that has become a permanent part of the state budget, I don't expect that to change anytime soon. So it seems to be an ongoing shift in the higher education landscape. So both of those things are really what is driving the decrease in student count, which is correlating to a decrease in student credit hours. Overall, if we look at fiscal year 21 as that was 100%, we are down to about 91% of the number of students. We also see a small decrease in the number of student credit hours taken per student in a given year. And I hypothesize, although I didn't ask institutional research for this, it has to do with the number of credits that students are arriving with from dual enrollment classes, from AP classes. Students are taking about 13.7, I think, credit hours on average versus what some might think of as 15 as the expectation. But I can expand on any of that if there are questions, or
Are there any questions for that portion? You feel free to come up.
So that was my question, and thank you for answering it. Is the university going to increase any scholarship money in response to the other states adopting similar policies?
and that is a question that comes up later as well, so that it's good that they kind of dovetail together. There was an additional question about what we meant when we said we were optimizing financial aid, and it's that. So as a way to try to go back after some of those out-of-state students, because they also have an outweighed fiscal impact because out-of-state students pay higher tuition. So when we lose 23%, that's pretty significant budgetarily. That's a thing that I worry about. Not that I don't worry about other things too, but you know. So they are optimizing financial aid packages, and what they are doing is back in January, let me find my notes so I tell you the right information. So flagship match was very successful, but what we're doing now is a hybrid approach to try to aggressively discount and acknowledge academic excellence and encourage earlier deposits so that we can see matriculation sooner. So we start with an earlier lead. Like if you ever hear our enrollment management folks talk about where we are in terms of how many students have matriculated at this point or made their deposit, they want to get as early a lead as possible over the prior year. So as a way to encourage that, they provided a $500 increase in scholarshiping for select, that was widely deployed for out-of-state students. And then a more narrowly tailored $3,000 increase for students applying under MCEC and marine sciences. So those are really ways that enrollment management, student financial services are trying to increase that out of state student population again. So there's a small impact to our discount rate or our scholarship, like if you think about that as like the scholarship rate. Going from about 42% on average to about 45% with that optimization. They said that that yielded about 30%, or not 30%, 30 headcount relative to the baseline. So that made it made an impact while they were able to maintain the same scholarshiping rate for in-state students. So it didn't have a negative impact on what we were providing to in-state students. One of the other questions that I received was about if we could provide some examples of partnerships to enhance workforce development, and how do programs like Pathways to Careers or other programs factor into that initiative. So as I was putting this together, I thought, wow, we really have a spectrum of workforce development and internship fellowship opportunities. If we start with Tyler Technologies, who is just down the street, we work with them to expose middle and high school students to opportunities to study at UMaine and then intern and ultimately work at Tyler Technologies. And part of the reason they actually built that facility was so that they could be close to UMaine to enhance internship opportunities and or workforce needs. Another area would be internships in the more technologically advanced manufacturing sector in Maine. We have a coordinator who's based out of the Advanced Manufacturing Center and who is currently funded by Pathways to Careers. And they work closely with companies to develop internship opportunities, with departments to raise awareness about opportunities, and with students to help them tailor their resumes and do interview prep. One of the outcomes of this particular program is that over half of the interns for BIW this summer are University of Maine system students. That is a really successful program. Another program that we have is Innovate for Maine, and that is funded with support from the Department of Economic and Community Development. This is a program that is really about supporting not just students, but also startup companies within Maine. This summer, we'll have about 45 students hired to the program to work with more than 50 companies. The program provides professional development opportunities for students in a boot camp experience at the beginning of the program, and training and networking opportunities throughout the summer. And then finally, specific to Pathways to Career, that's a program that offers internship programs throughout the year, which could be paid or unpaid, can have academic credit. And there are a slew of learning experiences that go along with participating in the Pathways to Career, including pre-internship training, establishing tangible, substantial, and achievable learning outcomes between the student and the employer as the person is engaging in their internship, networking opportunities, mentorship, feedback and assessment. And all of those are funded through the UMS Transforms program from the Alphons. Moving a little further into supporting workforce development for people who may not be current students, I think of the AMC Botlock, which is an advanced robotics and automation training hub that opened last fall, I think, in AMC. And they're preparing the workforce for the future of manufacturing through hands-on learning, industry recognized certification, and direct access to cutting edge technology. They have training available on 3 globally recognized robotics platforms, as well as they offer 16 different micro-credentials. And that I know that they are working with different companies who have those robotics in their companies and need to have their staff and receive additional training. And then also we have an education reimbursement program through the University of Maine system, who has partnered with Hannaford, making Hannaford associates eligible for a 10% discount on any University of Maine system class. So there's a lot of different ways that we're trying to touch workforce development, from when people are students and doing internships and fellowships, all the way through to when they're not currently full-time students, but are probably a full-time worker and need to receive additional training or support.
So that was the question about partnerships and opportunities, because that was one of mine. I'm glad you mentioned pathways to careers as well, because I'm also aware the Alphon grant is nearly about to run out for the pathways to careers program itself. And I was wondering, I know that's a UMS system-wide program, but seeing so much benefit on this campus, I was wondering if there are any plans in place to potentially continue funding for that, or find a different way to situate it here on our campus where it's not specifically a UMass program where it's more focused on UMass.
Yeah, I think that's an ongoing conversation with UMS Transform as we talk about how the funding for that through Transforms ends. How can we pick up the things that are working through our campus budgets? So that it's definitely an ongoing conversation.
Are there any other questions? All right. Did you have any other sentiments you wanted to give the Senate?
I have one more question that I received, if I could. So there was one final question about examples of largest costs wasted on duplicative or unnecessary services, which is a comment that was in one of the bullets on slide 14. And the duplicative and unnecessary services, that's really looking forward. That's an item that we're looking at as we try to resolve on the ongoing budget issue. And I would say an area that I think we need to look at is technology services. So we have a number of technology services that are procured through UMS IT, and we pay for those through our shared services expense that we pay back to the system. And then we have other IT services, and could be software or software as a service, that we are procuring through different colleges, different units, faculty members, staff members. And we need to, identify if there is any overlap in that, and are we purchasing the same basic function in two pieces of software because one person has a preference for one versus another? Is that the best use of resources? I can give a specific example that won't win me and fans anywhere, but we purchased Microsoft 365, right? That has Outlook and Teams. We also have Google, we have Gmail, and we have Zoom. We're paying for both of those things. I'm not sure I understand yet the rationale of why we as a universal system have made that choice. So it is something that I will ask about. I mean, I know that there are other much smaller examples of technology, software packages and things that probably have that same kind of overlap in functionality. And we should be making choices with our finite resources about which is the appropriate one to use at university.
Senator Oldfield?
I guess this kind of works into this conversation. Is there anything like on the smaller end of the university, like specifically our university, I think of a couple examples where like departments are charging each other, and is that like on the radar for like investigating?
Where do facilities charges departments when they do work? So like if a room needs to get painted, the facilities department will charge the entity that's having their room painted, if that. So
I guess that's not quite what I was referring to, more like in situations where like renting out room. Like free access for some departments, but other departments have to pay for it.
I guess I would have to know the specific example to look into that.
I
President Tripp?
I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, are we trying to get into like the student costs?
not even like it's not just the students have to pay for the use of.
Yeah, okay.
But
like
it's that.
The FSL thing. Okay, so a conversation that we've been having now for years is the charging across departments and to student groups or otherwise. It costs $5,000 to rent out the CCA for a day. We understand, or I think that we've got to the point in this room, and correct me if I'm wrong, where we understand the difference between E&G funds and then what is private, what are they recouping, what are their costs for staffing and whatnot. It still seems to be quite high across those things, and it's kind of really putting a lot of pain on community groups and events on campus. One that I can think of is the Greek Gala. Sure.
I just want to add into one thing that comes up in here all the time is discussion of club sports and the use of the fields. That students pay tuition dollars that go to take care of all of the use of the fields and things like that. And then in addition to that, sport clubs pay to use fields. And pay to rent things, and often, we'll have to rent, and the ice hockey club gets space thousands and thousands of dollars to rent ice, for example. Things like that. That comes up a lot in here.
So I guess like what I imagine then, or perhaps is another place where the university just must be losing money somewhere in terms of constant transfer fees. It just feels like we're moving money from one bucket to another. That may not be exactly where you are, but I think that that's what the senator was trying to get at. Or that concept of both a increasingly expensive campus to participate in, even as student groups and departments and organizations on campus, and kind of how this work of trying to figure out and reduce waste and costs could maybe improve that situation as well.
I'd be happy to look at that further.
Yeah.
I'm not sure offhand, but I can think of increased costs that we would incur as a result of that practice. Because as you mentioned, it's going to cross different fund types. So if a student club has to pay to use a sports field, that's going from your dedicated funding source into our E&G, so into our regular pool of funding to support all university operations. That may not be how you want to utilize your funds, or how you may not think that that's an appropriate use, and I'm happy to explore that. But I don't think that we would be incurring any costs. It's, in my mind, it's just a journal entry in my mind, moving the money in the accounting system from one bucket to another.
Okay. Yeah, I think this is just a tangential conversation to the larger budget conversation, and we can follow up on that.
There's also a question, I'm not sure if you received it, but we had it on our document, asking for some examples of reducing unneeded square footage. Just wondering if you could address that.
Yes. So I give you a specific example that will be upcoming. But then I can also let you know that there is a system-wide directive. There's an APL, so an administrative practice letter that outlines how our space is supposed to be used and how frequently our space is supposed to be used, down to like the classroom is supposed to be used X percentage of time. And in order to have a permanent office, someone is supposed to be on campus a certain percentage of time, or they need to be in like a floating space. Conference rooms must be shared, so that it's very prescriptive, and it outlines the expectations of the system on how we utilize the space that we have. I can say one building that we'll be addressing this summer as GEM finishes. We will be taking down the fire station / sculpture studio, which currently serves as like the construction base for the people who are working on the GEM building. So as that is completed and people are able to get out of the sculpture studio, fire station building, we will remove that building because it doesn't serve a purpose to us anymore. It's unnecessary space. It adds to our deferred maintenance costs by keeping it on the books. It's over 6,000 square feet of space. So it's an appropriate action is to remove that space rather than try to repurpose it for something with good cost. much more, and this will allow us to clean up that area and expand parking.
Are there any more questions for our speaker?
On that point, would you say that you find yourself often in regards to like the deferred maintenance, looking at tearing down buildings that might have a lot of cost to repair them rather than repairing them?
I've only been here 9 months in this role, and we have torn down one building, which was a lot. That was an 11,000 square foot building that had 5 people that worked in it at the end. And not utilization that people wanted to see, and the repair costs were significant. I don't think that we are going to see buildings start coming down every 6 months. I don't think that's where we are. But I think that we have to address the fact that we have a lot of space that may not be utilized in the best way. And if we want to be able to invest in the buildings that we do have, at some point we will have to make those choices. We are engaging in a master planning process to try to figure out where our buildings should be, not so much physically, but where the planning part. I don't think buildings are going to start coming down at any rapid pace.
And this is a question I was just thinking of, it was sparked kind of by the conversation about different departments in the university charging each other. We've had conversations about the prices of Sodexo catering in here several times. And I was just wondering, with Sodexo, is it pretty much fully funded by the prices of meal plans that students pay, or does the university also incur other costs they have to pay Sodexo that's comes from other funds besides the meal plan dollars?
The first year that we transitioned to Sodexo, I think auxiliary services had to provide some additional funding, which came from their reserves, to sort of balance what Sodexo was expecting. We're not in, I don't expect to be in that position this year. I don't want to say we're behind. I don't expect to be. I expect everything to be fully funded from either the meal plan dollars, or I was like, Buffalo Wild Wings is doing fantastic. That is adding. We are possibly in a position of potential revenue sharing with Sodexo, because they are meeting the revenue target that is in their contract. And then as far as the price of Sodexo catering, we actually are currently in the middle of a study of their pricing model. So that we'll be able to say it is the appropriate price when you look at everything that you're paying for versus it's not the appropriate price, which I don't think is where we're going to end up, quite honestly. They're surveying other college and university dining plans, local businesses, so we'll have a report at some point, but that is in process right now.
Any more questions for our speaker? President Tripp?
Well, first I want to say thank you so much for coming. I think that it's a big deal to have a cabinet member coming and speaking to the Senate. I'm glad that you got a chance to stop by before the end of the semester. And again, appreciate you kind of doing the background work and getting our senators' questions answered. I have 2 questions. The first is, as we move into what is, you said, a master kind of re-envisioning plan, we know that there's this kind of all hands on deck in terms of figuring out where we go from here. I think that it's safe to say that some of the numbers that we heard from the budget meeting were a little bit unnerving, specifically the deficit that we're staring down for 2030. My first question is, how can we as student leaders meaningfully support that effort? And yeah, I'll ask that question first before going into a second one. How can we as student government help get information out? Where are we not kind of, you know, what rooms are we not in yet? Like, where can we support the re-envisioning of the future of our campus?
Are you, let me answer that by asking a question. Yes. Are you engaged at all in the discussions on enrollment. And like for cabinet right now, it's sort of all hands on deck on closing what the students that we're gonna have for fall of 2026. So enrollment management has a plan, they're working on personalized postcards from faculty and staff, they're working on phone calls from faculty and staff. Has anyone talked to any of you about how you can support the enrollment of upcoming classes?
I don't believe so. I think that we've made a lot of good strides in being connected with your office in particular, the provost's office, as well as a few presidential advisory committees, but I don't think that Vice President Coughlin, I don't think that we're involved in that world of that.
Because I think, and I can ask him about that. I think that right now is really the focus on a cabinet anyway, is how do we get students to come here? Traditional students, you know, the 18 to 22-year-olds, and different learners, like people who may have stopped at some point. How do we re-engage with students who stopped pursuing their degree? How do we convince them that we're the place to come back to? But I guess I'd be interested in your thoughts on it. If you think student government could be a vehicle to help with some of that enrollment management work, almost recruiting work. And if that would be, and I haven't talked to Vice President Coughlin about that, so I don't know if he thinks that's appropriate or not, but that would be my first thought.
Yeah, I think that that's a worthy conversation. I think I'll follow up. Yeah. Other than that, I think the one question I have is we're staring down barrel of some pretty major changes around the university, just generally. Some not even in the I think there's a negative context to this whole budget situation, but we're seeing also the most investment in brand new buildings and some really cool stuff coming to campus. But from what we understand, there's a lot of more parts of campus that are going to have to be I guess torn down is like the worst case scenario, but re-envisioned overall. What are your steps, especially following what I think we can just kind of name as the Crossan situation of engaging with the stakeholders, the people who do care about those buildings, especially students, and how can we A, improve that, maybe things that you've learned through that process, but also B, how can we be better and more proactive?
I think that all of that work is going to happen through the master planning committees, and there's a whole structure of committees. There's an executive steering committee and a steering committee, and then there'll be subsets. There'll be a housing committee, and there will be an academic building committee. The life and health sciences complex, the $45 million congressionally directed spending, that's going to have its own committee to talk about programming and how we develop what that complex should be. And I believe that there are students, the intention is to have student representation on all of those, from both undergraduate student government and graduate student government. So we have had a master planning, we had a kickoff meeting, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and we did have Hazel Sparks attended the steering committee. So we do have representation there. I expect that we will kick off the housing discussion relatively soon. I think it is also important, and I know the communication part is a challenge because a lot of the things that we talk about in the meetings are very pre-decisional. So it's information, and a lot of times, and I don't mean this just from student government because it doesn't come just from students as a concern, but people will walk away from the meeting thinking this is what's happening, when really we're at the very start of a conversation about what could happen in the future. And that's really the part that we need to get better at communicating what we can communicate. I just had this conversation with the Faculty Senate's FIPSI committee. I need a better understanding of what I can communicate and when. And when it relates to budget conversations, when it relates to master planning, and part of the master planning we'll be talking about contracts with construction companies and architects, and a lot of that will be confidential until it's executed. And we don't want to do something to put ourselves in a position of anyone being litigious with us. So that it's how do we find that balance of what we can openly communicate to everyone and seek feedback, and what is committee work that is not yet public. I think it's a hard balance that we're still working on.
Yeah, just last thing, I just wanted to acknowledge that, like, in terms of student representation on the master steering committee and the planning committees generally, the presidential committees, like, there, we have seen a major increase in representation, so we appreciate all the work that you've done in that regard and prioritizing hearing those voices from yourself and the president and the cabinet. So anyway, that's the last thing I have, so thank you so much for coming. I hope we didn't really get too hard. And that you'll come back next year to give us hopefully an update on similar things, though some of us won't be here then. So I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation. And I guess I would have one more question, if that's okay. As we look to fill student positions on those committees, is there a particular process that you want us to use to seek those nominations?
I think it's great moving forward to alert the president and vice president, and then we can go forward with the nomination with an informed decision from the Senate.
Okay. And that's
And to that point, I think that we've seen every now and then, I mean, this room is often a room of some of the most busy students on campus, and we can't always find somebody in particular. And I do think that somewhere that student government should be able to improve on and do better in is that if we can't pull from this body here, is making a larger effort to pull from outside. We've recently appointed students from outside of student government onto the Good Neighbor Committee for the town council. And those students who aren't necessarily in this room have done kind of an amazing job at being stewards of that community too. So I think that that is absolutely something that we can do better at, because we should have the expectation that if we're expecting a seat, it should be filled. So we can get better at that for sure.
Thank you all so much again. Before we move on to executive reports, Senator Blatt.
Okay, today's weekly quote is, "You may be disappointed if you fail, but you are doomed if you don't try."
All right, moving on to executive reports, starting with the president.
All right, guys. After this meeting, we have 2 Senate meetings until the end of the year, which I think is kind of crazy. Lori's excited, but I just want you to keep in mind that if there are things that we need to wrap up, we literally have 2 weeks to do it. And really what that means is that we kind of have a week and a half, because if you understand, obviously all of us know how student government works, you kind of need that week before to get things through the committee. So we're running up to our last meetings of the year. So we're gonna make sure that everything gets wrapped up, and not just wrapped up, but for rep boards, transitions are happening. For senators who are leaving, the projects that we're leaving behind are passed on. These are the things that I want you guys to be focused on. And frankly, that's what I'll be focusing on. I think that you'll start to see in the next few weeks that my reports will not be as long, because I am almost done and I need to not start new projects. I need to pass them on. So it's kind of almost a rite of passage. So I think that make sure that that is what is on your mind as we wrap up. Also a reminder that the Student Leadership Awards are April 30th at 5 p.m. in Minsky. I will continue to say that until we get there. And also that the president will be joining us, not next meeting, but the meeting after that, to kind of give an address to, again, our final Senate meeting of the year. So I think that's exciting. Moving into old business, I have finished, and we went and met with myself, VPFA Bohm, and Sean with the Student Legal Services contract. Originally, I told you that it was going to come through tonight, and I was going to put it through the executive committee, but things kind of just started to get too forward. And I decided, since we have the time, we're going to put it through Polypro. So that'll go through Polypro tomorrow and come to Senate next week. That's time to get everything wrapped up and done. But I think that it's probably the more democratic and right way to do it, as well as I did not have time to do the other way. So don't worry, that's coming through, and I look forward to kind of sparing that stuff away. As for hiring update, we'll be considering a BOT rep candidate tonight. I know it's not on there. We'll be needing someone to just basically, it's not gonna need a main motion because it does technically have a committee recommendation. It'll just need a suspension of the rules within the executive session. So we'll get that done. In other news, I'm obligated to report to the Senate that the ABPSC candidate ultimately declined the position. The committee will be considering next week whether to laterally hire or fail the search as a whole. Obviously, the people who are leading those committees have a big week ahead of them as the concert comes up. And to that point, it's not a huge deal. This has happened before, and the last time we waited to hire in the fall, we got ABPSC leaving. So it's nothing to lose your minds over, but my goal will be to hopefully leave everybody with a full exec team. But if that does not happen, at the end of the world, this is probably one of the better positions for it to be. Moving into, I have written concert, and then all caps concert. So this is the week, folks. All hands on deck in regards to getting tickets out. We are frankly behind our goal, and I'll let VPSC leaving kind of cover that more. But please make sure that if transitioning is the rest of this semester's priority, this week's priority is the concert. Moving into admin response memorandum, I'll be following up about that later this week. Dean Gifford did say that it may take a few weeks. Again, I know that it's been reviewed by Dean Gifford. I'm not sure if Dean Sedelko looked at that, the admin response memorandum. Okay, but senior cabinet has been informed about it. I know that Sam Warren, who's at the system level, has also seen it. So hopefully we'll get a response by that. And I'm hoping to have that signed. That would be next Friday, there's our one-on-one with the president. So I'll make sure I follow up with that and probably keep you updated over the chat because that's a little bit more timely. Yes, the goal is to see it signed by the time the president visits Senate. As for new business, I only have one thing. Executive or the president of the Students for Democratic Society came to discuss with me the Faculty Senate Motion 2601. We'll be working with them to put together a roundtable around student safety and protocols, which at our last senior administration meeting, we had already begun talking about. This would have hopefully representation of cabinet members, general counsel, which is the first time I've been offered to speak with general counsel, UMPD, maybe the Res Life. Again, these are all the conversations that we've had with the president, so I would be holding them to that. I think that we've all seen the few actions that have been taken by the Faculty Senate as well as the graduate student government. While we will not be considering a resolution, I think that our most productive way is to make sure that that meeting that we were promised happens, because frankly, all that's left is a conversation with those. If you want to look at the response, literally just look up UMaine SM 2601. There's a full response from Provost Paquette about the pieces there. There's certainly more answers to get. And yeah, I'll be updated on that. Let's end my report.
For my report last week, I had a committee for the Dean of Student Search. Whereas announced there was only one candidate, and I handed in my grading sheet for the resume and cover letter. The final meeting with the committee and the candidate is April 24th. We finalized the questions that will be asked. There was 8 questions in total, and I was able to get 2 of them. And the questions regarding students are as follows, that I made sure that were on this list. How do you ensure student needs are reflected in routine executive decision-making? And what about need-based situations such as ongoing struggles with food insecurity, housing insecurity, and other financial constraints? And how do you navigate student advocacy and communication when students' initiatives and goals are not feasible with institutional and financial constraints? The rest of the questions are going to be made public, so I'm not in trouble by telling you guys this. I had a meeting with the president of Partners for World Peace on Thursday when I was out of office, and I got to hear from the students' perspective on how they were moved and how they were able to find where the miscommunication stemmed from. As I was previously let know that their move out of the Keogh building was unsatisfactory and stressful on the students who had a week to move 7 pallets worth of materials. I have my bi-weekly with Dick Young this Thursday, where I'll be connecting the 2 groups to discuss how we move forward. And I've extended my notes from that meeting previously in the Senate space. And so if you saw a really long thing, that's what that was. And that was going over multiple different things. I had that discussion with Dick, but the meeting with Partners for World Peace was with Alex. from the side that I had the meeting with Dick was talking about how it's a fire marshal issue and that they were let down ahead of time and they were satisfied with the move. In my hour-long conversation in the Los Populous parking lot, was they didn't hear any of that and they asked for help from admin and they refused to with moving. So all of that will be cleared up and hopefully moving forward as we like kind of start the conversation with previous different administrators, the communication when it comes to how admin interacts with student groups, because things like this should not continue to happen, especially after what Keegan coined the Crossland. Yeah, you just did like 2 minutes ago. We've yet to receive materials to advertise the buses, so I'm pretty sure they're still finalizing everything when it has to come with the Flix bus. As per my report last week, they're having a bus system from here to New York City. We'll hopefully be having a post by the end of this semester on our Instagram regarding that. The security committee for the university decided to purchase a new traffic sign, so now we have 2 for campus. And so that means we're gonna have 1 for each entrance when it comes to different construction that it's happening. And they're not only purchasing the big sign, but the trailer they have to lug it with. I was supposed to meet with the dean of the Maine Business School today, but that got rescheduled, which is fine. I also met with the director of SCIS today. There's major qualms of the conversion of SCIS to MCEC and that change coming from CLIS. And this is something I plan to bring up in the next meeting with my dean. And if anyone has any friends in computer science or new media, please give me their contact information so we can find a path forward in the problem. Because a lot of this is coming from the faculty side, and it's again, a miscommunication issue and also more of like an administrative move. But the new project. There's a North Campus Infrastructure Public Information Session that was held today by Joe Farley. I'm hoping to get a follow-up from him from any insightful questions that happened to this. I don't know if any of you guys attended it, but it was an open forum regarding all construction happening. And this Thursday, I have the next presidential space committee, so I'll be reporting back on that. I believe we're going over the North Campus as well, but that kind of ties into the conversation we started to have with Jenny regarding the new construction that we're hoping to see on campus and like what tearing down buildings actually means. As I previously reported out to the Senate, 79% of this university buildings are in full gut or tear down. So they're all marked on red, and I'll have that in like a slideshow for you guys next week. I believe I presented that last semester, but we'll hopefully get some updates from the meeting on Thursday. And I'll be totally prepared if any of you guys have questions. But just a reminder that any of the things that are proposed in that are simply just propositions, and it's not going to tear down this building. This is happening. It's more so ideas because there's a lot that needs to be moved around. And that's the end of my report. Vice President of Financial Affairs.
This last week has mostly been focused on training the VPFA designated for next year. I've also been doing my day-to-day of working on funding requests and looking over bank reconciliations. And report.
Vice President of Student Organizations.
I got a short report this week. I started training the next VPSO. I plan to use this opportunity to do some of the things I didn't get around to, like auditing the off-campus storage for the clubs that use it. I've also been waiting to do onboarding with next year's new reps so that the next VPSO can sit in on that and see what that looks like. And she also sat in on SOC this week and will be chairing starting next week. End of report.
Vice President of Student Entertainment.
Hi everyone. 433 tickets were used at Black Christmas last week, and now everything else is going to be about the concert. So we have had 1,190 people sign up or register through campus groups, which is great. Again, still below what we want to be at, but a lot of it has come, like there was a huge dead weight around last week, but it's made a huge spike for this past week. And we've given out 750 tickets as well, which is good. Just for a quick update or like information about tickets, the first 1,500 students will receive GA pit tickets, while the remaining will be given tickets for seating in the bowl. I see this as very much just a first come, first served situation. So those who got their tickets first get the privilege of sitting or getting to be closer to the acts, and those who waited, unfortunately, waited too long. We added some tabling for tomorrow and Thursday. Tomorrow will be 11 to 4, and Thursday will be 12 to 4. We announced that on the Instagram today, so that should be out there. Again, tell everyone that you know that if they are still worried about tickets, that we will be giving out tickets. Yeah, there's still a lot of tickets, so again, please tell people that it's a free concert. It's a completely free concert, so they should go. It's awesome. We sent out the bus email and Instagram post, but again, in case people need to know, buses will start leaving the Belgrade lot at 5 and go until the show starts at 7. Buses will begin returning students to campus when the show ends until 11 p.m. All you need to do is show your Maine card to get on the bus. And additionally, there will be a drunk bus or van, more accurately, I guess, at the venue to cart students back to campus who have been removed from the venue for misbehavior. Additionally, there will be a know before you go email and post going out tomorrow detailing what students should know before they go to the concert. This will be posted also at the bus pickup, which again will be in the Belgrade lot. However, I will be saying that information for you right now. Just a quick note for tickets. People have been asking if they look at their ticket and on the part where it says section, if it says a GA, that's general admission. But if it has 115 or 116, they are going to that. Those are like in the bowl tickets. So they're gonna have to have a seat. Hammond Lumber entrance is where GA floor ticket holders, so all undergrad students, or only undergrad students, not all, only undergrad students can enter. The people that have the section 115, 116 tickets should enter through the Renewal by Anderson entrance. Parking lot J will be sold for $20. General doors open at 6 p.m. The show begins at 7 p.m. No outside food or beverages, no weapons of any kind, no smoking or vaping. Vapes and lighters will be confiscated. That's important. No re-entry. We will also be announcing that there is a haze, strobes and flashing lights will be used. And then the bag policy is that clear bags are not to exceed 12 inches by 6 inches by 12 inches, and small clutch bags and wristlets no larger than 8 inches by 5 inches by 2 inches, and all bags will be checked to make sure that they are in compliance with all the rules above. And then they are also a cashless venue. And again, as I said last week, I hope that you guys came with some numbers for tickets that you would like to take back to your clubs and stuff, because I have all of the tickets here with me right now in the report.
The senator would ask how the student leadership.
This is Nathan Fortune to me. Hey all, I'm sorry I'm not at Senate today, and sorry to all SLC senators for canceling on them out of nowhere. I'm currently incapacitated and as such will be from office tomorrow. Based on the poll, the retreat will be next Friday from 3 to 5. Once again, the retreat will be a PowerPoint night-esque workshop. I encourage all senators to attend and come with fun presentations. For any additional questions, feel free to send me an email. If the request for Senator merch has passed. And if it passes cabinet tomorrow, then please respond to the message that in the chat for people's sizes. I would like to have them all tonight. The merch item is quarter zip, and I've dropped a mock-up in the chat. I believe he has sent that follow-up size order as well. End report.
Advisory to student government? No report. Are there any questions for the executive reports? President Tripp.
I have something else if I may.
Yes.
Myself and VP Thompson are currently working with Representative Frago Dunch to put together an email that will be sent to the student body to try to find us an AOC rep. From what I understand, nobody currently involved in the organization is interested, and their numbers are dwindling, and it would be a really sad thing to see them come together in 1 year and fall apart. So Operation Save AOC, which was, in the past, we've had Operations Save Shack, and that went all right, so I'm hoping. I'm hoping that will yield results, so you'll see that email go out, but if you or anybody you know would be interested in doing that, being in that role, that would be so awesome. And Representative Frago Dumch requested that I add to the email and also clarify that you do not need to have a disability to serve in this position. In fact, it would be really cool and productive to have allies of that community who are also willing to help their peers with that advocacy and support in that arena, as in fact it is actually difficult for some folks to attend our meetings. And I think that's something that we should also reflect on. That's not entirely easily addressed. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of that. I'm going to do my best in the next few weeks to set that organization up for success next year.
For BPSC, Lena, do volunteers also have to adhere to that bag policy?
No, volunteers are allowed to bring in different bags, because again, you're gonna be there for like a longer period of time and you'll have to bring, whatever you need for that long day.
Any volunteers won't be going, you'll be.
I will be having security check bags for babes.
Any more questions for the executive reports?
Like I'd say that we're all wishing BPSL Ben good health.
Any more questions? Seeing none, moving into periodic reports, starting with the faculty, senate, student representative.
Alright, so the faculty senate is meeting tomorrow from 3 to 4:30 in the Wells Conference Center. During this meeting, they will discuss and vote on 3 different motions and resolutions. So the first one being motion 2601, which President Tripp briefly mentioned earlier, which amends a previously passed motion on the general education, or maybe it was not that on general education requirements. And this motion makes no significant changes to the overall requirements. It just changes some wording to clarify what the general education requirements of courses are. Then the second motion is 2611, which is about adding statements to the course syllabi that state in accordance with titles that certain students are allowed to record lectures, and hence other students' voices will be recorded as part of that if they speak up during the class. But it would state that these recordings are not allowed to be posted or distributed in any fashion. And then this motion will add an optional statement about the faculty's ongoing goal to reach 100% Title II compliance to their syllabus, just letting students know that during the year, certain resources might disappear and reappear in different locations and in different styles, again, to create Title II compliance. Then the third vote happening in this meeting is on resolution 2612, which if passed would allow for retired or previous UMaine faculty to retain their email addresses and all accounts connected to such email address. Other than that, other than the motions and resolutions, the majority of this meeting will be spent dedicated to the election of new executives or to the faculty senate and giving the administration a brief chance to respond to the letter that was sent on behalf of faculty senate for their lack of confidence in the current admin, which was sent in the senate chat a few days ago. End of report.
University of Maine Board of Trustees, student representative.
Everyone, firstly, I have an answer to a question that VPFA Bone asked me in my last report about why so many statistics professors were tenured. And from what I can tell, the statistics program became an official major between 4 and 5 years ago and hired a bunch of new faculty, and that is just the number of years it takes. So that's what I can tell, that's why that happened. And beyond that, I am excited to hopefully hire another representative of the Board of Trustees, and the next board meeting is in May. So if the hiring is successful, the person wishes to attend that meeting, my next steps will be getting them coordinated with everyone and on track to get a hotel and looking at meeting.
Chair of the Fair Election Practices Commission.
Hi, everyone. Next week is inauguration. If you haven't received the invitation, you aren't here last week. There are some over on the table over there, or if you don't see your name over there, come let me know. I can give you an invitation. This past week, I've been in contact with my successor, and in the next coming weeks, me and her are going to work with the Polypro Board on amending the FEPC guidelines and getting her all set up for next year and report.
There's no student legal services liaison report, so representative to the graduate student.
Hi, everybody. I was unable to attend the last graduation event in person. But I was given a brief to the class. And they are currently in the consideration of a letter that was kind of signaled their support of the same faculty letter that we've been discussing, that kind of vote of no confidence of the current administration. And then other than their elections and getting ready for their end of year stuff and their grad gala, which I think is like next week. Yeah, so tell your grad student friends if they haven't already heard about that. But that is all I've got on the report.
Representatives to the Machias Student Senate.
The Machias Senate recently had their Spring Fests. Through this, they were able to effectively secure all the executives needed post-graduation via recruitment. And this is a big deal, as there was a risk that the Senate would fall apart completely, which is an amazing step in ensuring the longevity of the Senate. Their social media campaign has been put on hold temporarily due to their big spring but it will resume this week. All of their Senate is behind the idea, which is nice. My meeting with the Machias president, Joseph, will be this week, and I will be talking about the potential of having an executive from the Machias Senate as a guest speaker here, and general other things. And furthermore, because I'm just the best at designing posters, among other things, I will be making one involving the Machias Senate and UMSG to put around. What will be on these posters? Nobody knows. I'm still figuring that out. If anyone has any suggestions, that would be nice.
Watertown Council liaison. Does anyone have that report? Old Town City Council liaison.
I'll report this week, the next Old Town Council meeting was next month.
Seeing none for I and J, Director of Technology. University of Maine Security Representative. Any report? Center Undergraduate Research Liaison. Does anyone have that report? Are there any questions for the periodic reports? President Tripp.
I have a question for the faculty senate representative. Were you there for the conversations around this letter, and do you have a vibe check of like where you think these conversations are going to continue? I assume that they haven't had a meeting since the letter was sent where the president and such would have been present, correct? So were you there when they passed it?
I was not there when they passed it. I know that tomorrow during the meeting, they have about 10 minutes for the administration to specifically respond to the letter in person. There have been a few jabs at the administration from faculty, senators, specifically last meeting, just because there is a portion of each meeting allotted to, like quote unquote questions of the administration. And so oftentimes they do get a little snippy with the administration during that. So I do believe if no substantial action is taken in regards to this letter, that they will probably keep progressing with it.
Escalating.
Yeah.
Wait,
President Tripp.
just T-Record. What were the conversations like there?
Again, really to attend the meeting in person, but from the detailed conversation I had with one of their senators later on, it seems that there's just a lot of frustration coming from the graduate students, and a lot of sympathy and outreach towards what the faculty is feeling. So I think they're down for whatever the faculty is feeling.
Do you foresee a concurrence in the Senate, the graduate Senate?
I concur.
Like the agreement, a resolution that says we agree with the letter.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Any more questions for the periodic reports? Senator Oldfield.
It's not really a question so much as a question about the topic. I can say, there was definitely a shared sentiment at the academic faculty meeting about, that being,
Says it was a supermajority, which I don't know what that means. 2/3? Yeah. Okay.
Any more questions?
Right.
Seeing none, moving on reports of standing committees. For policy and procedure, we have executive evals next week. And a report, services.
Hey everyone, service has been ramping up at work recently. We have 2 resolutions going through tonight, one for the streetlights from last and this semester, and then another one for the ADA and parking spots. The night walk is almost finalized and ready for next Wednesday. If you'd like to participate, please reach out to either myself or Senator Soper and we will note it down. The focus for this semester will be on potholes across campus as well as paint paint on crosswalks and parking lots. I met with VPFA Bone last week to start the renewal process for the bus program. I'm currently working to get the information together, so hopefully we'll have more to report on next week for that. Lastly, a big thank you to Senator Sparks and VP Shelmerdine for helping me with the services resolution template. I'll print out a copy for the committee binder, and I'll be grateful for all future chairs. Hope you all have a great weekend and end our report.
Academic affairs.
Hi, everyone. As I mentioned, I was at the faculty academic affairs committee meeting on Wednesday last week. There were a lot of topics covered, including a conversation about the AI being implemented and the AI thing that has sort of been mentioned on and off for quite a few weeks now, as well as a conversation about the university systems selecting like a certain program and package for faculty to implement, which is like it's an AI like course tool for them to use. There's a lot of disgruntled sentiments surrounding that. Mostly in faculty not really giving input on which tool was selected for them to be using. We also discussed the data transparency task force and the goals and objectives of the task force. Most everything we talked about was very preliminary. It's a brief new task force that was developed. We had a brief conversation about the syllabus repository, which was one of the very few positive notes at the meeting last week. The resolution is going to be pushed through the committee at next week's meeting, which is Wednesday, the 22nd at 3. And then I also met with Associate Provost Marzilli last week, and we discussed the plans he has for developing a student board for him to use as a reference and providing a broader student perspective when working on university objectives and initiatives. And we had a conversation about like making sure there was a broad range of students on that board instead of it just echoing sort of the community we have here. And the goal for that is to have applications open before the end of this semester so that he can hit the ground running with ideally at the beginning of next semester. I had some fails, but I don't remember it. So if you have questions, I have notes from the faculty meeting that I'm happy to discuss with anyone that wants to reach out to me about that. And you guys should all come to academic affairs committee meeting. Could we talk about important stuff? And reports.
Are there any questions for the standing committees? Seeing none, moving on to reports of the special committee, starting with holistic health and wellness.
Hi, everybody. I hope that you are having a good start to your week. Like it's been mentioned before. We only have a couple of weeks left, this is one of the most stressful points in all of our academic careers. And the spring semesters only get more stressful as you go into your senior year. But thankfully, then you graduate, hopefully. In committee this week, we had a little bit of a split session with the first half of the meeting being our meeting where we decided on our tabling date, which will be Wednesday, the 22nd from 11 to 1 p.m. So we'll be tabling with the mental health committee materials as well as materials on student government and then mental health resources on campus as a whole. So that, you know, even though we are at that tail end of the semester, students still have those resources for this remainder of the summer and into the fall semester. And then the other half of our committee was a karaoke session. So if you're looking for a fun committee to show up to for the last couple weeks, the same. Mine always is a hoot. And this week we'll actually be having committees starting in the counseling center at 4 p.m. on Thursday. People don't know where that is. We will all walk over from the Wade Center, but we will be filming a little tour of the counseling video. Because I finally heard back from Angela from the counseling center on that. And to update folks who were concerned about the potential AI use within Cutler for the transcription services. I am still trying to get in contact with somebody. They don't have any publicly listed email addresses, so I filled out their contact form and was unable to get anybody on the phone today. So we'll continue trying on that and report.
There's no report for food and dining fair, so undergraduate student symposium.
The symposium is this Friday. This is a big event. Hundreds of students put pretty much their entire year's worth into these projects. Some great student research is done for literally every single major. It is such a great event. I'd hope to see all of you there, at least to go support the people who you do know, even if it's just to take a walk around, see something. There's always stuff that is literally for everyone there. That's it. No support. And report.
No report for voter.
I have that report.
Oh, okay.
Hi, everyone. Veek is working with You Vote tomorrow for our event, Black Bears at the ballot box, which is from 1 to 2 in the bumps room in the Memorial Arena. Everyone is welcome, and I would love to see a bunch of people show and report.
Non-traditional commuter and transfer students committee.
No report.
Are there any questions for the special committees? Seeing none, moving on to representative board reports, starting with Honors College Student Leadership Council.
Hi, everyone. My only update is that all of our new officers have been selected for next year. We're holding our onboarding council meeting next week. At this meeting, we will familiarize all new members with our bylaws and our budget, and we'll also get to see paperwork signed with our new officers. And I also want to introduce my successor, Ariana, who is here shadowing our meeting to see the process of setting.
Interfraternity Council.
So Order of Omega applications are open, which Order of Omega is just an all Greek honor society. There's a couple of requirements, but it only pertains to Greek life. And foremost are still happening, but as far as I've heard, everything that has gone on so far has run very smoothly, and all the venues are happy. So and important.
Atlantic Council.
Hi, everyone. We officially have a new VP of programming. She's from Chi Omega. We are so excited to have her on the exec board. DC and the Mental Health Club are still doing a period product drive. If anyone has any unopened products, please donate if you can. The box is in front of the FSL office. Then lastly, there's a Greek life final study night on the second floor reading room in the library on April 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. End of report.
Student Athletic Advisory Council.
Baseball won their series this weekend, and softball had their opening, home opening. And also we just had a meeting earlier today, and we went over our leadership groups and roles for next year. And a report.
Senior Class Council.
Hi, everyone. I'll be dropping the senior week schedule in the chat following my report, so we'll have it. Next Wednesday, April 22nd, we're hosting our final fundraiser at OPOP, so another karaoke night. Order the class Stein Song drink to have a portion of the proceeds donated to Senior Class Council to go for our senior week and class gift. We'll be there from 8 to 11 p.m., but any Stein Song drink purchased throughout the day will contribute to the fundraiser. As always, you must be 21 years of age or older to attend. There are only 25 days left until graduation. Report.
Sustainability Environmental Action Division.
The Sustainability Field Day will be happening on April 23rd, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We're providing food courtesy of the Mitchell Center, and folks will be tabling. I'll have to share my office hours for next week, so please just email me directly to set up any appointments and report.
Are there any questions for the representative board reports? President Trett.
For Penhal, who is the VPP?
It's Tessa. Okay. Any more questions? Seeing none, moving on to the community association report, starting with Student Heritage Alliance Council.
Hi, everybody. Shaq didn't meet last week. Just been very hectic, but we're meeting this week. We were planning on doing elections, and I have to say that the current situation looking pretty good. I think we have a good Lansing session. We'll see how that goes. But there's a fair bit of interest. I sent out the formal link to the Senate chat for. I hope you saw that. I didn't realize initially that it actually works out pretty awesome that we have the inauguration just before that, and so swing by Canoe for an after party. There's a lot of free food. Great music too. BSU has a hair care fair this Saturday. If you're looking pretty shaggy, swing by, get a free cut. They know what's up. BSU also has a bake sale tomorrow, in the Memorial Union, so be on the lookout for that. I talked to a guy in the library today, and there's a food truck war going on Saturday at the Bangor furniture gallery. So if you're hungry on Saturday, there's gonna be like a ton of food trucks over there. Like I should have said, as we are winding down for the year, I highly implore you guys, if you're interested in student culture, be sure to go to some of these last club meetings. They're a really great celebration, and oftentimes there's a lot more free food. So that should do it. And report. Thank you.
Wildstein, Queer Street Alliance.
I want to start by thanking everyone who came to the drag show this past Saturday. It was really bittersweet for me as it was my last UMA drag show, but as I expressed in my speech on Saturday, it is such an honor and a privilege that UMSG empowers groups like Wildstein put on events like the drag show. It felt really cool to be in the driver's seat this year, and I am so excited to pass that off to Wildstein's president-elect Michelangelo Keys. I mentioned in my report last week that I would be bringing Michelangelo, who will be the next Wildstein representative, to this Senate meeting. But unfortunately, he had a sudden unexpected family emergency and had to urgently leave campus for an unknown amount of time. He's optimistic that he will be back on campus before the end of the semester, so I'm currently operating under that assumption. But if things start to look not great by early to mid next week, I will be planning for that. I will be getting that. We're still accepting clothing donations for our Trans Plus clothing swap event, which is this Saturday from 11 to 3 p.m. in the Wilson Center. Donation boxes are in the Rainbow Resource Center and in our info booth until around 4 p.m. this Friday. One thing we could use more of is threaded. So if you were anyone who know has some dresses that they would like to donate, send them our way. And we're still accepting signups for graduation and for people to receive a rainbow board. We've only had 15 signups so far, and I would really like to give out all of the rainbow boards that we have this year. So if you know anyone who might be interested, please share this with them. You do not have to attend or be of their graduation to receive a rainbow board.
International Student Association. Accessibility on campus. So not that report. Are there any questions for the community association reports? Seeing none, we'll now enter the 5-minute recess and reconvene at 7:38.
Just make sure that we have that.
Seeing nothing under unfinished business, we'll now enter new business, starting with 47S QL 91 AOC Representative Johnson.
Hey guys, I'm not up here very often, but I'm up here today to bring the updated job descriptions to you. Most of these aren't templated, so if VP Summertime will allow you guys to use your email, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're starting with the AOC one. It's just titled AOC _04 -2026.
Should we just move on the screen?
Yeah, we can just get on the screen.
We're on. There's a few things that we can present on the screen anyway. We'll just do it now, but keep talking.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward. All of the job descriptions follow pretty much a template, so this was just copy pasting the details of your names. I'll start reading it when I set up. So, okay, this is the starts in the fall. The day is the same as all the rest, 76.82.50 a year for 5 hours a week. Shall attend all meetings of the General Student Senate, represent their constituency in discussions and debates, and give weekly reports about issues, initiatives, or information pertaining to AOC. They shall attend all cabinet meetings and represent their constituency in discussions, debate, and votes. Hold weekly office hours open to their constituency with remaining time for 5 hours. The representative shall ensure the organization's governing documents are consistent with the governing documents of student government. The rep shall submit an office budget to the Financial Affairs Office during the annual budget process. The rep must meet with the VPFA prior to submitting said office budget. The rep shall submit an annual organization update form to the VPSO, attend check-in meetings at the discretion of the VPSO. The rep shall have the responsibility of training their successor on the duties and responsibilities of the position. In the absence of the availability of the former representative for training purposes, the responsibility falls to the VPSO. The rep shall perform all other duties as directed by the General Student Senate.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the recommendation?
Oh, wait, it's a light right there. I'm not the common first, okay? Give me a second, anybody here?
I'm now looking for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator Levesque.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second.
Hearing a second, we'll now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority and affirmative, that passes. Next is 47S POL 92 to congratulate ECAC Player of the Year, Adriana Smith.
Yes, give me just a second. I'm automatically like a analyst, right?
If you're logged in with your account.
I just thought that go to the end of that now. I'm gonna take over because I foresee some editing to this document and it's not big editing, but. Wait, is it not signed in? Can you add me or no? Yes.
Stop sharing.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, great. As I said last week, I wanted to see the Senate start taking on a few more things in this nature, which you would call kind of a sentiment. This is something that legislative bodies pretty much everywhere do. I believe the faculty Senate does it, the real Senate does it, and they're essentially just here to congratulate or to make recognition of something that's important that's happening on campus. So we're going to go through 3 of these tonight, and on top of it, I think that when we do sentiments, something that is especially powerful is the sponsors list. And we'll get there when we get there. So this is an Act 2, extend the General Student Senate's congratulations to Adriana Smith on being named Eastern College Athletic Conference Player of the Year. Whereas University of Maine forward Adriana Smith was named the Eastern College Athletic Conference Player of the Year on March 25th, 2026. One of the highest individual honors a student athlete can be awarded in collegiate competition. And whereas, in addition to being named ECAC Player of the Year, Smith was also selected to the All-ECAC First Team, further recognizing her extraordinary performance over the course of the season. And whereas, after securing her 1,000th career rebound this season, Smith became the only player in American East history to record 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 400 assists in a career that includes men's and women's leagues. And whereas Smith was named America Ace Player of the Week 7 times this season, reflecting the consistency, dominance, and leadership she brought to the Black Bears throughout the year, therefore be it resolved that the General Student Senate hereby extends its sincere congratulations to Adriana Smith for her historic accomplishments, her outstanding representation of the University of Maine, and the example she has set of excellence. She has set of excellence. Oh, geez. I fixed this in committee, but it's back. She has set excellence for the campus community and resolved that a copy of the resolution, once signed, be sent to Adriana Smith, the University of Maine Athletic Director, and any others deemed relevant by the UMSG President. This is really cool. I got the chance to actually pack meals with her at the midday meal pack out.
And it was during her red shirt season, and she was just about to come back in, and she was really nervous. She kept saying things like, I don't know if I'm gonna be as good as I was when I left, and I'm a little bit rusty, and clearly she had no problem jumping right back into it. So I think this is a big deal. I gave executives a chance to add their names as sponsors. I was a little disappointed by the amount that did, so I'm giving everybody the chance. If they want to add their name to this, they should. And again, like I said, it's just kind of a bigger deal and less, policy and kind of that stuff. So I think that we should all feel free to throw our names on this. And if you want to, I will very quickly write them down as we go through this process. But that is my presentation.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Aaron Latt?
Yeah, my name.
That's gonna be during debate.
Yeah.
And you have to make a motion to add your name.
And the way that we're gonna do it is that everybody who wants it, I'm gonna put it all in, and then we're gonna do one big motion to make it amended to read like that, so we don't do a billion little ones. Does that make sense? Cool.
Are there any more questions for the speaker? Senator Oldfield.
Never mind, actually.
Any more questions? What is the committee's recommendation?
400 ought to pass.
I'm not for approval of the committee's recommendation. Senator DeLorme.
Recommendation. Second.
Hearing second, we'll now move into discussion. Seeing none, debate. Right this time, if you are a senator who would like to add their name to this, please raise your hand.
I'm adding the ones that were added in committee. Because I'm working on a whole doc, but the only difference of that is literally, there's no difference to the characters. Hold on, take us.
Okay, everyone give.
Reps and the officer.
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a better way to do this. Do we think if I share it to the chat, everybody writes their name, or what do you think? Yeah.
I love that. Yes.
Do you think that probably works? Everybody get off their computers. We're gonna do this 3 times, so be prepared. What are your thoughts, BPFA vote? My thought was that you just enter suggesting mode and then you write down everybody's name under just your account. And then we can just approve it all once we get approved by the amendment. We can just say accept the suggestion. Okay, though I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna make everybody else do the suggestion. So that's what we'll do. Yeah, so everybody help on that. You have your name. And make sure that you're in suggesting mode, because some of you have full access to my drive if you're. I think it's just VPSC leaving, actually, and it's Spark. Vice President. Summertime. Oh, man. This. This is terrorist. And I will format it if you just get them down. Point of information. Should representatives for also include the acronyms that. Just representative's last name. Thank you. So those are kind of clear. I don't.
My watch.
I get it.
Oh, no. Is it telling
My
you?
watch is almost dead, so if I don't get my phone in the hour, and then fun.
My watch also tells me that things are being used.
Are there, this will be a continuous thing that people can add their names to, and it will be accepted after. It doesn't need to be on the page right now. Are there any more points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Next is 47S POL 93 to congratulate women's soccer AE champions of 2026.
And it's actually updated, so that's great. So I'm just gonna start by dropping this in there, just in case people are interested already and we don't have to kind of do the song and dance. But while I read it. Okay. This is to extend the General Student Senate's congratulations to the University of Maine women's soccer team for winning the 2026 America East Championship. Whereas the University of Maine women's soccer team captured its third consecutive America East Championship with a 4-3 shootout victory over the University of Vermont. And whereas the Black Bears demonstrated exceptional resilience, overcoming an early 2-0 Vermont lead with goals from Jordan Gannett and Grace Johnson to force overtime and ultimately a shootout. And whereas goalie Elena Berenberg delivered an outstanding performance with 6 saves, including 2 in the shootout, earning most outstanding player honors. And whereas with this victory, the University of Maine became the first America East program in over a decade to win 3 consecutive tournament championships. Therefore, be it resolved that the General Student Senate hereby extends its sincere congratulations to the University of Maine women's soccer team on this historic achievement, and resolve that General Student Senate commends the players, coaches, and staff for the dedication and representation of the University of Maine, and resolve that a copy of this resolution, when signed, be sent to the University of Maine Athletic Director, Women's Soccer Program, and any others deemed relevant by the UMSG President.
Are there any questions?
I did in fact watch this game, because I felt like it would be disingenuous otherwise, and it was a good game.
Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
400 ought to pass.
I'm now looking for approval. Senator DeLorme.
Move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second.
Hearing second, will now move into discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes.
I guess we're swapping out in between this.
Weird, I don't know why.
No, I
Moving on to 47 SPOL 94. HCSLC representative job description.
Okay. I'm taking the podium more tonight than I have in my entire time here, which is fun. This is pretty much the same thing that the AOC one says. It's also in your email if you want to read it. Like I said, the job tasks are pretty generic, and then it's just catered to match each position. So I'm not going to read it all again when it says the same thing that everything I just read for the AOC one says. But if you have questions, let me know.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
400 ought to pass.
Now looking for approval, Senator Weber.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation. Second.
Hearing second, will now move into discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Next is 47 SPOL 95, receive representative job description.
This one is actually printed in the handout. It has the old one and the new one. The one on the screen is the old one. The new one has been modified to bring it in line with the rest, because a lot of the stuff on the old one isn't necessarily in date anymore. So very much the same thing that all the other ones say. So again, if you have questions, let me know.
Any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
400 ought to pass.
I'm now looking for approval, Senator Weber.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Hearing a second, move into discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Next is 47 SPOL 96, UMSG Inc. Representatives Employment Type at Will.
Okay, this one modifies pretty much every other job description that needs to be amended for anything except to make the employment type free at will. You can see there at the top right hand second box says employee type at will. Before that, it said elected, which wasn't really true, because while you're elected to be the president of the club you're representing, you are not an elected employee of UMSG. You are an at will employee, which means you can be terminated at will.
Not that that's something that we do, but it needs to be clear in the job description that that's how this is.
Are there any questions for our speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
4-0 pass.
Looking for approval, Senator Weber.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Hearing a second, we'll now move into discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Next is 47 SPOL 97.
Yep.
Names.
And his name. And we'll see why he's in it.
We can look at it.
Okay. Want me to read this one? This is an act to extend the General Student Senate's congratulations and well wishes to Matthew Weber on his recent confirmation to the University of Maine System Board of Trustees. Whereas on June 14th, 2023, the Maine legislature enacted LD 1656 requiring that 2 students be seated as full voting members on the University of Maine System Board of Trustees, selected through democratic means across the 7 UMass campuses. And whereas Matthew Weber was nominated by the University of Maine Student Government, put forth to the legislature by Governor Janet T. Mills, and subsequently confirmed unanimously by both the committee and the Maine State Senate, and whereas Matthew Weber will serve as the first ever student trustee representing the flagship campus of the University of Maine. Therefore, be it resolved that the General Student Senate hereby extends its sincere congratulations and best wishes to Matthew Weber. And everybody may add their name to that, and if that is the case, I will be presenting this resolution to Matt Weber when it's signed.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
4-0 ought to pass.
I'm asking for approval. Senator DeLorme.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second. Hearing a second, we'll now move into discussion. Seeing none, debate. Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes.
So those are 3 great examples of what a sentiment can be and what it can be for. And I hope for those of you who will be returning next year that you keep that in mind. And hopefully many more will come from the Senate. So thank you guys.
Now moving on to 47S, request for installation and repair of streetlights on campus.
Hey guys, this is my first authored resolution, so this is pretty exciting. I was technically supposed to do this last semester, when I did the night walk and got all the coordinates for lights, before I presented it to the school. So this is more just getting it in writing and then getting it also through the form I submit, all things under facility management. So what this is, whereas adequate lighting is an essential component of campus safety, particularly for students navigating campus at night. Insufficiently lit areas create potential safety hazards, increasing the risk of accidents and security concerns. To mitigate these risks and enhance visibility, the installation of new street lighting and repairing existing street lighting in dark areas is necessary. So next whereas is every single coordinate that we collected from the night walk. Yes, there's quite a lot of them. When I printed it out and submitted, I didn't realize it went like 5 pages of them. But this was presented in a map to the school already. This is more again just to get it down in writing and so I can submit it through the proper system for the school. So we can continue discussions, hopefully get that project continued moving along. So the whereas for this resolution looks a little bit different than other resolutions in other committees. It's because it goes directly through the form. This is exactly how I will be putting it through word by word under each individual bullet point. So go under facilities management for department, the project description will be as read, new streetlights will be installed, and existing streetlights will be repaired at the designated coordinates to improve visibility and safety on campus at night. The areas above have been noted to be abnormally dark and pose a safety issue for students during low light. And that will be it. So the resolve will be myself will enter the information as written above in the functional renewal and improvement quote request form. A map of all the listed streetlight coordinates and their associated concerns will be generated and presented to the University of Maine's Facilities Management Department.
Are there any questions for our speaker, President Trey?
Your email doesn't have Lawrence in it?
Nope. There's so many Ryans and so many Saints that it kind of just got melded into Ryan.A.sd and it's really short and I love it.
Yeah, mine's .st1.
Are there any more questions for our speaker? Seeing that, what is the committee's involvement? I'm sorry. VP Baum.
What's the accuracy of these coordinates?
They are directly on top of where the lights are.
Any more questions for our speaker? Senator Cowan?
So does a map already exist and could we see this map?
I could put it in Snapchat after I'm excited, but yeah, absolutely.
Does Senator Cowan want to see that map before?
I would just like to see it in general.
Okay. Any more questions for our speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
5-0 on the pass.
Now look for approval of the committee's recommendations. Senator DeLorme.
I move to approve the committee's recommendation.
Second. Hearing is second, we'll now move into discussion. See none, debate. President Trick.
I just want to take a second to thank the good senator for all the work on it. I'll give you another example of how far we've come in terms of our access to things like infrastructure and whatnot. And of course, and thank you to Vice President Shelmerdine for laying the groundwork. I don't know why I just forgot your last name. But you're carrying this forward in a really important way, and I appreciate that, and also the engagement that you're doing beyond student government for these projects. So it's just, I just want to make sure that we acknowledge all of that before this passes.
Any more points for debate? VP Baum.
Your phone number being made public information to everybody?
I guess so.
Well, it is now.
For clarification on the phone number, when I submitted this form last year for the two different resolutions we clicked through, they contacted me through the cell to confirm the resolution went through, not resolution, but the information went through their system. And that is kind of the preferred method of facilities management. They don't enjoy email. And you have to put your phone number through, so. You have the floor.
Just a quick little point I wanted to say real quick. Shout out to Senator Levesque, because before he joined Senate, he was the one who helped me compile all this data and make the map.
Any more points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Next is 47SS, request for additional and relocation of ADA parking spots.
All right, everyone, this one felt like my actual first written one. Last one was more off the template that I was using. This one actually got to generate some more on writing. Basically the exact same procedure, except this time for the handicap parking that we did surveying for, specifically Senator Soper and I across campus. So again, similar with the whereas section, it's gonna be exactly as I submitted in the form. So quick going over, whereas ADA parking spots are an essential component for campus accessibility, particularly for those who require parking accommodations to have better access to the campus and its facilities. Parking lots with an insufficient amount or ineffective location of ADA parking spots create areas of inaccessibility for campus. To mitigate this risk and enhance accessibility, installation or relocation of ADA parking spaces is necessary. So again, kind of just going through, much shorter this time, not 5 pages, so I won't do that again. But it'll be also submitted under facilities management, with the project description as listed. Once again, my name and phone number. I love that it's public information now. The final result, myself went through the information as written above, in functional renewal and improvement request form. A map of all the listed ADA parking spot coordinates and their associated descriptions will be generated and presented to the University of Maine's Facility Management Department. There's not a map generated already because this time I'm going to wait for this to get passed before I make the map and then present it to the school.
Are there any questions for the speaker? President Tripp.
Is my math correct, and is this a request for 30 total additional ADA parking spots?
Yes. Okay. It was the maximum I said I was going to request when I first brought this project forward, so kind of real close.
Any more questions for the speaker? Senator Lauren.
What area of campus would you say is most in need of like specifically ADA parking spots?
I would say Beta Lot and the York Lot, York Complex, where the spots are currently located are pretty inadequate because they are literally on the entire opposite side of where they could actually be effective. They're over by the old complex that's not really being used that much anymore, instead of over by York Hall and the associated dorms across campus in that little area. So I figured relocating them more to the actual area will give better accessibility for students and faculty who work at York and dorms over by that area. And then Beta, it's they really need spots for that entire area. When I went over there, I was shocked to find that we had 1 or 2. So this is more just increasing accessibility on campus. That one was also requested to be the most by most students. So that's why I wanted to get that one in particular.
Senator Oldfield.
I counted 33 spots.
I'm gonna be
Putting that out there.
To be honest, I did not numerically count them through when I was going through and doing.
Yeah, there's 33 spots.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't read the convert. I said, okay.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit more like context to this has been a continuous conversation that Senator St. Lawrence and I have been having with Joe Farley and Ryan Ward. And so, yes, they are expecting a long list to be put forth to them. And they know that we understand that not every single one of these recommendations is going to come to fruition. But this is more so that they know the spots where we are looking to add them as they are going forward with the North Campus infrastructure project. And as they expand parking, change it around where the student feedback comes from. So we are by no means like demanding of them 33 parking spots, and they know that. Any more questions for the speaker? President Tripp.
What is the report back system to the Senate? Have you figured that out? In regards to like which ones get fulfilled and which don't? Is it just through the services report, or are we gonna get some sort of like actual hard copy response of these things? I can't call on you, you're the chair.
Oh, right. Well, I was just meaning for like the other person speaking that I knew this. So I have my monthly meetings with Joe Farley and Ryan Ward, and I discussed this resolution going through, and I told them that as we have the memorandum of understanding going through for things from the presidential cabinet, that we also expect something similar for his department as well. So that's gonna be coming through as that we are expecting 2 weeks afterwards, that we would like. It's the same timeline as the memorandum of understanding. And I just said this in an informal kind of setting, but if we want to have that in writing, we can. That 2 weeks to respond if they have any questions or concerns, and then 2 weeks for them to get back to us on like a finalized, this is our decision. President Tripp.
Would you want to pursue that this semester, or would you want to kick that to your term?
I'm probably gonna kick it to my term because I no longer have any more meetings with Joe Farley and Ryan Ward this semester.
Questions?
Yes. Any more questions for the speaker? Seeing none, what is the committee's recommendation?
4-0-0 pass.
Now looking for approval. Senator Lawrence.
I move to approve the committee's recommendations. Second.
Hearing a second will now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. President Tripp.
This is not so much a critique of this resolution in general, but as we figure out what, obviously, I do think that all the coordinates and stuff should stay, because I think it does give us a good perspective. Perhaps we include maps going forward if we have them in the resolution, but also something like this is requesting 33 total 88, like that stuff should be included moving forward. And again, this is not me saying this is wrong. This is saying as we figure out the kinks, that would be a good thing for us to just start including moving forward. So thank you.
Any other points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Seeing clear majority in the affirmative, that passes. Seeing nothing under made motions, is that already covered?
I'd like to make motion to suspend the rules and add BOP rep hiring under executive session.
Second.
Hearing second will now enter discussion. Seeing none, debate. President Trick.
There's more discussion, but this needs 2/3 to pass.
Any other points for debate? Seeing none, all those in favor? All opposed? All abstaining? Declare 2/3 majority, that passes. I'm now looking for a motion to enter executive session. Senator Oldfield.
Motion to enter executive session.
Second, if it's a pleasure of the Senate, we'll be entering executive session with a roll call once all non-UMSG members have left the room.
Night, Lori. I'm gonna say good night, Lori.
Yes, so there's announcements where any member of the GSS may address the GSS for no longer than 5 minutes. Are there any announcements? Representative Emery.
Track formal, the deadline to fill out that form is tomorrow afternoon.
There's anything else?
Sigma Chi is bringing back Derby Days. That starts next week. It's gonna be a week of different philanthropy events. There's gonna be a lot of fun surprises. So just keep an eye out for our Instagram. We're gonna start posting all those events.
Any more special orders with announcements? Senator Cowan.
Next week at 5 p.m. in the Bangor Room is Take Back the Night. This is, I don't even know how many annual Take Back the Night it is at the University of Maine. Unfortunately, we didn't have this event for a couple of years. And you're not familiar, you haven't heard me talk about this before. Take Back the Night is a support space for survivors of sexual assault, as well as their allies, to come together and create a safer, better campus community. This space is really, really incredible, and if you are free, I really urge you to come, even just a little bit, to learn about what you as a student can do to protect other students or yourselves from sexual assault. And again, that will be next week at 5 p.m. in the Bangor Room. Triota, as along with All Maine Women, will also be tabling all week from Monday through Friday from, I believe, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Union to raise money for Rape Response Services, a local nonprofit in Bangor. So if you're feeling like you have a couple extra dollars to spare, stop by. Anything helps.
Tomorrow there's gonna be a protest at 5:30 at MLK Plaza because Abby Johnson, who's an anti-abortion activist, is gonna be on campus tomorrow. And at 11 a.m. there's gonna be a park bill for science.
Senator School of Performing Arts events for the week. They are both free. Thursday night is Brass Night at 7:30 p.m. in Minsky, and on Sunday in Minsky at 2 p.m. is the Collegiate Rock Concert with the Black Bear Men's Chorus. If you have friends in it, go support them, and if not, just go support the arts. Any other special orders or announcements? VP Lehman.
Concert this Friday, everybody. Tell all your friends, please.
Any more special orders and announcements?
Symposium this Friday, everybody. If you want to be more academic side for the first part of the day and then relax at night at UPSC Lehman's concert, stop by the Student Symposium, support all of our amazing undergraduate and graduate researchers that we have here at the University of Maine, all the work that they've done over the past year.
President Tripp.
If you do go, you'll hear me give out all this undergraduate student awards and hear me mispronounce whatever sciencey thing that they do, because I'm a CLAS student.
I'm gonna for that.
You guys can also see a picture of me scuba diving if you go.
Any Any more special orders announcements? Seeing none, may the clerk please call the final roll.
President Tripp,
Here.
VP Shelby,
Here.
VP Ball,
Here.
VP Lehman, VP Thompson, Director Erica, Commissioner Stankevich,
Here.
Representative Britton,
Here.
Representative Pellet,
Here.
Representative Bronner,
Here.
Representative Knapp,
Here.
Representative Karpinski,
Here.
Representative Fancock,
Here.
Representative Emery, Representative Campbell,
Here.
Representative Abed, here, Representative Tremblay, here. Senator St. Pierre. Senator DeLorme. Here. Senator St. Lawrence. Here. Senator Levac. Here. Senator Farnsworth. Here. Senator Cowan.
Here.
Senator Centinelo. Here. Senator Goodspeed. Here. Senator Villat. Here. Senator Van Beek.
Here.
Senator La Madrid.
Here.
Senator Birdmark.
Here.
Senator Oldfield.
Here.
Senator Rivera.
Here.
Senator Weber.
Here.
Senator Rideout.
Here.
Senator Whitehead.
Here.
Senator Sutker.
Here.
Senator Cummings. Here. Senator Joy.
Here.
Did I miss anybody? Senator Silver.
Here. I'm now looking for a motion to adjourn. Senator DeLorme. Second. If it's declared the Senate, we are adjourned.
I will see cabinet at cabinet, and you have until midnight to add your name to any of those three resolutions before I finalize them.